Hi everybody, welcome to School of Scarlett. Today I have a message for you. So it's a pretty kind of cool day. It's supposed to rain a little bit later, but it's not raining now, so I thought that I would come outside and make a message for you out here. You can see my horse Belle kind of making an appearance here. I thought to be out here because my cows are actually on the other side, and I thought that they might join us. We'll have to just wait and see if they make an appearance. But today's message is a very important message, and it's a message that I consider to be for the 1%. So what do I mean by the 1%? So the 1% of people that I'm speaking to are people that are aware, people that are conscious, people that are here and aware of what's happening. So Belle's back here. She's looking at my two dogs. They're actually on the ground here. I have my dog Blue and my dog Sarah. If you've been following me, they usually also make an appearance. So they're kind of looking at each other here. So anyhow, if you kind of notice around the world, just around your own reality, when you go, the grocery store, when you go out and do your errands and stuff, the majority of people are asleep. They're essentially like sleepwalking here on earth. They do the same things, the same mundane things over and over again. They, might seem like they have it all together, but essentially a lot of them are, really in this sheep-like mentality. Many of them have to be self-medicated or medicated by doctors. They have depression. They have many different things that, they're not coming out of. And, it's very natural for us to go into these states of being. But eventually we have to become conscious. We have to make a change in our reality. So that's what this talk here is going to be about. So I'm really directing this message to those that have now come out of that depression, come out of that sheep-like mentality, have realized or become aware of what is happening here on earth. So this message really is to encourage you to not have any care in the world about what others think about you. You have moved past that. So many people want to kind of say that this reality is like a simulation, like a game. And a lot of people, even scientists have really, talked about it that way. And we can kind of see it that way. And what I want to kind of do for this talk is kind of paint a picture of that reality. That truly we are playing a game here on earth. And really there are no others. It's just us playing this game, and the so-called others are just reflections of ourselves. They're reflecting things back to us. And where in the past we saw others as someone that we had to fear, we saw others as people we had to follow or listen to, or that in some way were going to cause us damage, or people that we couldn't trust. When we begin to walk into, like I say, the 1% that are conscious of what is happening here, we begin to see that others are truly just reflections of ourselves, and there's nothing to fear here. So imagine that you're playing a game and you truly understand and you know that every character in that game is just, a fake character. Like they're just like an, NPC, like, one of these characters in our reality. But they're not essentially anything like what we think they are, like some huge threat to us. When we begin to see that we're playing in a game like this, we don't become fearful anymore about sharing who we truly are. Whereas before, when we're, living under this kind of sheep-like mentality, we're following the world. Now, how are we following the world? Well, people often follow all kinds of things. They follow their parents and what their parents want them for them and what they want them to do. And they oftentimes build their life around what their parents had planned for them. Many times people get into relationships and now they're living for that other person, only doing what that other person wants for them to do. Oftentimes people get into jobs or careers and things, and they start to fall into this rabbit hole where they no longer have any autonomy. They're just doing whatever that company wants them to do, whatever their manager, their supervisor, the CEO of that company wants for them. They no longer have a voice to speak out. They can't really share with others, even if there's injustices or problems happening in their reality. So I've made a video about this of like a while back about when I quit teaching. You literally as a teacher couldn't even speak out about things that were really happening within the schools that were honestly very horrific. So they put a muzzle on you so that you can't speak up, and you become, just like this NPC character in this reality, just playing this loop of things and not being able to speak up, not being able to be yourself, not being able to really, break out of that mold. So that's what I talk about when I'm talking about when we're, in this kind of unconscious state. So I'm not really speaking to those people, but if you start to realize that you're awakening from that, this video is for you, and there's no coincidence that you're here today. So when we finally realize that, what's happening here is that we can't trust these other characters. They're not truly to our benefit. They're just reflections of ourselves and things that we have to overcome. We begin to feel freer. So if you can imagine that this is truly like a game, then you can imagine that these characters are, they're not anything to be feared. They're not anything to be followed. Because once we follow these characters and we begin to play in these games of, doing everything our boss wants, doing everything our parents wants, doing everything society or the media wants us to do, we begin to see that it brings us no benefit. We feel no much better than we did before. We feel worse. It's obviously a way that we give away our power. We give away our power to others, and it's not benefiting us in any kind of way. So what's really painful about this, and when we go into that depression, it's because we've literally abandoned our true self. See, you have a true self within you, and that true self has, dreams, has visions, has a life it wants you to live. And when you're not aligned to your true self, you find yourself falling into all kinds of traps, trying to be like this person, trying to emulate and copy this person. When are you going to go within and become who you truly are yourself? So I worked with a lot of people over the years, counseling them and things like that. And when I've counseled people, one of the main things that they're concerned about is what other people will think about them. So they're scared about like going to the store and acting a certain way, or going to a party, or applying for this job that they've always wanted to do, or changing careers, or moving to a different location, because what will others think? Others will think I have gone crazy. Others will think that I don't know what I'm doing. Others will judge me based on things I've done in the past. So I want to stop you right there and let you know that if you really realize the truth of this reality, there are no others. You can almost see them as other characters in the game of life. They're just reflections of you. They're truly not anything to be feared, not anything to be followed, not anything to be copied, or they're not some authority figure over you. Basically, you have the freedom to do what you want. So you can drop and relax the thought of what will they think of me. Don't worry about what they will think of you. Your new awareness here watching this video is that you no longer have to worry about what others will think of you. So we hear oftentimes, I don't feel worthy. I've done this in my past. I used to be a drug addict. I used to be an alcoholic. I was in a horrible relationship that I couldn't get out of for years, and my parents or someone had to save me. And sometimes people begin to think that they're less than because they went through these things. But I want you to know that whatever you went through was truly an initiation into your greatness. So in order to be a great speaker on, let's say, alcoholism and coming out of that, or a counselor, or a teacher, or any of these things, you would have had to go through that. So I want you to pause here today, and whatever you have overcome, whether that's, let's say, some sort of addiction, let's say you've overcome an illness, let's say you've overcome, some physical ailment, or, a mental illness, whatever it happens to be, that is a great blessing for you. You can now speak on that. You can now teach others on that, whereas someone who has not gone through that cannot. So I want you to, in this moment, be very proud of yourself and begin to see the greatness within you and who you are now. Don't let anyone put you down for anything that you think is something to be unworthy about, or something to feel guilty about, or feel embarrassed about. Don't worry what others will think about you. There is no others to worry about. Go into who you are within. Begin to embrace who you are. Embrace the true self and stop abandoning yourself. You don't have to follow others. You don't have to join some religion, become some, following others, or whatever it happens to be. Begin to follow yourself, your inner self. Begin to know yourself. You are unique. You are weird, probably. You are strange, and that's probably why you're worried why other people will look at you, or what will they say about you. That is what makes you special. That's what makes you unique, is that weird part of you. So we're coming into a new time where it is safe for you to share who you truly are. That weird aspect of yourself, that strange part of you. It's okay. You're free to do that. And it's actually encouraged right now for you to begin doing that so that others can see that light within you, so that they will feel safe to share their light within. So I hope that this message found you well. I hope that it will encourage you to not worry what others will think, and to realize the truth of our reality, that there really is no others. These are just reflections of ourselves, and there is nothing to fear here on this earth. The only time we get into trouble is when we begin to abandon ourselves, believing that there are others that matter more than what we have within us. They don't matter more than what we have within us. Doesn't matter what other people say about you. Doesn't matter what other people think about you. What do you think about yourself? Begin to let that light within you shine. Begin to be who you are. Begin to love yourself. Advocate for yourself. Be your greatest protector. Go in. There is an inner child in there waiting for you to allow it to play, to have fun on this earth, to be its weird, quirky self. So it's time. Go ahead. You're safe here. I hope that this message found you well. If it did, give me a like. If it resonated with you, share it with others. If you are new here, I hope that you will subscribe. I hope that you will come back. I hope that you will come back for our next message. I'm putting out daily messages, so hit that notification bell so that you get notified when I put out these videos. Thank you again so much for watching. I'll catch you on our next video. I love you all.